Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heilman?
Dear Lord, we thank you today. We thank you that we live in a country where we're free, and our prayer today is that we will appreciate the freedoms that we have and work together as one unit to make even America, and I think about Lorain County and the state of Ohio, a better place for people to live, and that everyone has access to all the benefits that they need to have a good quality of life. And we thank you that you put our commissioners and their team in charge of governing the condition of Lorain County and making the right decisions for the people, and we thank you for that. They're a good team, and continue to give them the wisdom and knowledge they need to make the right decisions. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the March 11th Board of Commissioners meeting. Commissioner Kalo has our dog from the kennel today.
Come on. Slow down. There you go. There you go. You want to look the other way? Come here, turn around. There we go. There we go. Our featured dog this week is a 3 to 4 year old male German Shepherd, Retriever, mix of some sort. Great personality. He's available for adoption today. He's looking to go home with somebody. Who wants him? You can have him now. We have 15 dogs available, so if you get a chance, stop by our kennel and find yourself a new friend.
Madam Clerk?
Do you want to go right to the presentations? Or
Sure, we could do that.
All right. First up is Solid Waste Collection Center, Mr. Bailey.
It's only 6 minutes.
We'll make it, Jim. You've argued longer than that some days.
Yeah.
Not today.
Good morning.
Last year, we did a collection of video clips, and we worked throughout the year to put together a video for you that will now be up on the website. Tiffany, can we run this thing? And it's about the collection center and what we do there. We try to incorporate a little bit of everything we do, and Ernie says it's going to be flawless this morning, so considering the other times I've had problems, real treat.
You had to reboot?
We should buy some recycled video equipment.
Where's our audio?
6:30.
I hear back there.
More about our collection center here in Elyria. Who's that girl?
Welcome
I know her. I know her.
Solid Waste Collection
Oh,
Center, your one-stop place for residents of Lorain County to bring materials to be recycled or properly disposed of. The goal is to keep much of this material out of the landfills in our lakes, rivers, and streams. Since recycling is good for the environment and our community, even our facilities were repurposed. The collection center at 540 South Abbey Road was once home to a local home improvement store. Today, it's a convenient place to bring unwanted materials for disposal. Our current hours of operation operations are Monday and Wednesday from 12 noon until 6 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And on Saturdays from
Okay.
9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Please check our website at loraincounty.us/.
Hi, I'm Commissioner Lorain.
Starting over?
Reboot.
On behalf of myself and my fellow Board of Commissioners,
Wake up, Lori.
It's all those fumes at the collection center, huh?
How embarrassing.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Keith.
That picture for your next publication.
Can we just give the disc to Hal to have inserted into the
Why
Yeah,
isn't it
taping?
running?
it's an internet issue.
Oh, you have it in the cloud?
See if we can fast forward it.
Huh?
Skip over.
Yeah, please.
hi, I'm Commissioner Lorain.
Honest to Pete.
Oh, we've had so many technical difficulties.
It's not doing it.
Oh, yeah, I did gotta push
This is a joke.
the pause button this time.
Our
Hey,
current
why not?
hours of operations are Monday and Wednesday from 12 noon until 6 p.m. and on
No, the buffering is not gonna catch up.
Saturdays from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m.
You don't have it on a thumb drive?
Please check our website at loraincounty.us/.
Yeah, we can download it to a CD and a thumb drive.
You wanna bring it back next week?
For any update,
That's up to you how you wanna do it.
Yeah, let's
Bring it
do it
back
next week.
Okay.
Can't count on the internet.
Fastest presentation you've ever done, Keith.
I'm proud of you, Keith.
Let's switch this
You
back
wanna kill
over.
it, Jim?
And we'll do our next presentation.
Okay, let's try Mike Longo from Workforce.
I don't have any presentations that are going to be up on the screen other than a PowerPoint. And
Okay.
I say welcome to my world because I have 5 kids that are sucking up the internet access in my house. So when I try to watch videos at home, this is what I experience
Right,
every
right.
evening. So
Yeah.
thank you for having me this morning. I'm here to refresh the memories of some and to educate others on the services that are available through your public workforce system in Lorain County. PowerPoint presentation. Great, thank you. So, Lorain County Workforce Development Agency, as you are aware, Commissioners, is Lorain County's public workforce system. We are a partnership of many government-funded entities that have come together as one. I have the logos of all the agencies that are part of our partnership, and some of them offer more than one type of service. For example, the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services works with unemployed individuals through unemployment, but they also have staff that help with services that veterans are accessing through our system. We've known the system as the employment network all the way up until about a year ago when the state chose to rebrand Ohio's workforce system, which today is known as Ohio Means Jobs. We changed our name about a year ago. We still have some people that refer to us as the network, but for a year now we've been trying to instill the fact that our name now is Ohio Means Jobs. And this is allowing job seekers as well employers throughout the state of Ohio to be more familiar with where they could access services, makes it easier for them to know where to go. And we received through Workforce Development Agency the WIA Title I funding. The program dollars are about $1.86 million that help us deliver services to adults, dislocated workers who are folks that are getting laid off. And then we also operate youth programs where we service both in-school and out-of-school youth. And we operate what's known as the Youth Edge program, which stands for Educational Development and Gainful Employment. Who are our customers? Our customers begin with job seekers, people that are accessing our system for help in finding employment or becoming better employed. We offer what today is known as core services. Core services tend to be services that can be self-directed. Folks who come into the center use the services on their own, or in some instances, they're staff-assisted core services, which are basic. And the types of things that individuals could access is public access computers, internet access, telephones, fax machines, copiers. So whatever we could do to make it easier on somebody that's looking for employment to defer costs that they might be having to normally put out on their own. We also offer basic computer courses. We work with many job seekers who have little or no experience working on computers, helping them right from the get-go, understanding what a mouse is, understanding how to set up an email account, understanding how to navigate the internet, things that would seem basic to some of us but are burdens for others. And then other job readiness type workshops, resume assistance, interviewing techniques, and helping folks understand online applications, which is a workshop all in itself, and recognizing today that many employers require people to apply online. We also offer them the next level of service, which is intensive services. And intensive services is really where we start getting staff engaged. This is services to help with career guidance. It could be case management services, helping individuals that have become unemployed understand what the demand is in the job market, understanding what skills they might have that would transfer over to new positions. We also offer intensive level workshops. We deal with a very diverse job seeker population. Some people are required to come to our system. They might be required because of child support. They might be required because they're in receipt of public assistance, whereas other people want to come to the system. So you're dealing with a very diverse set of job seekers. We also offer many specialized assessments. WorkKeys is one of the tools that we use, as well as a test for adult basic education. Help us understand people's literacy levels. Help us understand if we might have to engage them in literacy type classes, or possibly even GED, which is one of the partners on site as well. We also tap into an assessment, a career assessment that's used by Lorain County Community College called My Plan, where we look at individuals' values, personalities, interests, and skills, and all of that relates back then to occupations which would be good for those various areas. And then the highest level of services that we offer are training services. So when folks do come through the system and access core and intensive and still potentially need training, right now we offer training services where somebody could access up to $7,500 for up to a one-year program. And these are WIA funds. They're not due back. They're not loans. If somebody's trying to get into a two-year program, we would fund up to $15,000. And we do require some investigation. We look at individuals having to go to various schools, explore, learn on their own as well, so they have some understanding. And we do have residency requirements for our training dollars. Our next customer are employers. So recognizing now employers come to us in many instances looking for help, but we look to go to them when they need help. And the type of services that we offer employers, we assist with the expansion of workforce. So when employers are looking to hire, we post jobs, we screen, we accept resumes at our site when employers don't want to identify themselves, and we go through the process of what maybe an HR person would be doing at that place of business. We also offer space. We've done many recruitment sessions where we bring the employers on site. And then we also consult. There's been opportunities where, for example, Team Lorain County or Community Development is looking to work with an employer, and they want to know what the potential workforce is like, what type of people are out there, what skills do they have, where we provide that information. We also look to work with employers to provide on-the-job training, so recognizing not everybody needs to go to school. There's many employers that are willing to train people, that are willing to show up and learn. So we offer access to on-the-job training dollars, where we would be able to fund up to $3,000 of the cost of training. And we do have a national emergency grant right now that allows us to go to $8,000, but that expires at the end of June. Then we also connect to the college and the JVS. So we recognize that in many instances employers might be looking for a specific type of training, and then we work very close with our partners to engage them when needed. We also offer rapid response services, and those are the end of the services, the spectrum where we don't like to provide services, but unfortunately it surfaces where we do need to go in and talk to employees that are being impacted by layoffs. That's what we're doing right now with folks from U.S. Steel. So we're working with folks who are most likely on a temporary layoff, but during that time, how could they benefit? Because if they're in receipt of unemployment, they may be required to seek work. So how do we make sure they're prepared to seek work? And when individuals aren't necessarily expecting to be called back, how do we help them become engaged so that they can become reemployed quickly? And then we do offer incumbent worker training. Incumbent worker training is today limited to layoff aversion. So if we're able to work with an employer that possibly needs training to keep employees employed, then that's where we could bring dollars to the table to help with that type of service. And then the last customers are youth. Youth, the workforce of tomorrow. And our youth program operates a lot differently than our adult program. Youth program, youth today have to be between the ages of 16 and 21. They have to be income eligible, and it is very low income, 70% of poverty, very low. And they also have to have another barrier. And I've listed the type of barriers that they could have to qualify for the service. We find most of the youth we're working with in our program qualify for the first deficiency, which is basic literacy skills. So we test youth coming into our program. If they're functioning below a 9th grade education level, that would qualify them for our program for that particular barrier. But we also work with youth that are dropouts, homeless, part of the juvenile system, they're offenders, and then a variety of other type of barriers. The services we provide to youth, we engage them in tutoring when necessary. Tutoring that might be helping them to raise their literacy levels, might be helping them prepare while they're in high school for OGT testing, might be preparing them for ACTs or SATs. If youth are out of school participating in GED classwork, that's where we might be helping to engage a tutor to help them be more successful in passing the GED. And then for those students we have who are enrolled in college, we engage tutors as well to help them while they're in college. We offer paid and unpaid work experience through the year-round program. And summer work experience, while we haven't done it through WIA, we have done it through our partnership with the Department of Job and Family Services, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. We do also offer occupational skill training funds for youth, career exploration and guidance, helping them understand careers, and we're really trying to focus more on educating them about careers that are beyond the basic careers, trying to engage youth. I think last year we participated with many of the other growth partners in Manufacturing Month. How do we get kids to go see occupations, to stir up an interest, to help them understand the importance of continuing with their education? Leadership development, follow-up services we offer for 1 year when youth are exited from our program to make sure that when they're exited that they stay successful. And then supportive services, which could be help with clothing, could be help with school fees, cap and gown for graduation. I mean, when you're dealing with these folks that don't have income, they could definitely benefit from this type of help. Youth in our program, we try to provide incentives to keep them engaged. So while they're in the program and participating successfully, our board has approved incentives where individuals that provide us with report cards on a quarterly basis, if they're receiving at least a 2.0 or higher, up to 2.9, we give them a stipend of $25. If they're getting a 3.0 or higher, we give them $50. The importance of staying engaged with tutors. If you weren't necessarily at those levels and the tutors are helping you, that's helping them to achieve these incentives. We also looked at they haven't withdrawn from any classes and that they haven't failed any classes. So you're going to be achieving these measures and also have other things that are expected of you. When you take the OGT test, we give them incentives. So as they pass each section, we give them $25. So they could achieve up to $125 if they pass all the sections. And then when they graduate from high school or those that graduate from college, they get a $50 incentive for providing us their diploma or their degree. And those are part of our performance measures, so we're incentivizing the youth to give us those documents to help us meet our performance. For those that are involved in GED, we offer an incentive of $50 as they pass each section of the GED assessment. And then literacy numeracy, which when we test folks coming in, we also test them while they're in the program. We have to show gain, and that's part of our performance measures. We've incentivized the youth to come back and take these tests, and when they do achieve these gains, they receive $150 annually. For those youth that are engaged with mentors, we are encouraging them to stay engaged, to make it to their appointments, meet with the mentors. Mentors meet 8 hours a month with the youth, and this is outside of regular day type activities. Many of our mentors take the youth out to a restaurant, they take them to a movie, they take them bowling, they stay engaged with them to help us keep them engaged in our program. And then lastly, for the youth that participate in our workshops, when they attend 5 workshops, we give them an incentive. And our workshops are not only job readiness type workshops, we're bringing in many community-based organizations to talk about other important topics, chemical dependency, safe sex, I mean, anything that could benefit youth to be more familiar with. So I look at the employment services cycle of what we do through Ohio Means Jobs, Lorain County, and I kind of put together the visuals of the job seekers and the employers, and recognizing we've got folks coming in who are trying to help become employed. We have this little section of overlap where we're referring to employers and people are potentially getting hired, or we're doing work experience with youth. And then you got the middle section where they're employed. And then you got the next overlap section where unfortunately people are getting laid off, and then they become job seekers again. And you just kind of keep going through this cycle. We hope people stay in the middle. As I mentioned earlier, summer employment program, we will run the program again this year. Last year, we were able to help about 220 youth in Lorain County. The program is expected to run from May through October again this year. Last year, requirements were 16 to 24 years old, so a little bit different than what we traditionally serve. They also have to be income eligible, below 200% of poverty, and we have assigned them up to 29 hours of work. They've worked in many county departments, they've worked in for-profit companies, they've worked in community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, and last year we paid $8.50 an hour. All of the funds, workers' comp, everything's paid for through the program. We're looking for employers that are willing to spend time, the importance of spending time helping youth build skills. We're not looking for folks that just want to bring somebody in and not supervise them. We're looking for the importance of having that supervision. Last year we had about 70 sites. We're going to need more sites this year because we want to serve more youth this year. We want to serve more than 220. So we'll be reaching out to the community. We're going to be looking to identify work sites in the near future. We do have a meeting later this month with Job and Family Services to work out on more details. One of the big changes that's coming is the fact that the Workforce Investment Act has been revised. There's a new act that was put into law. It goes into effect July 1st. This is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. So over the years, we've always been saying WIA. Now we have to say WIOA because we're going to this new program. The regulations for the program have not been put out yet. So we're waiting for the Department of Labor. We were advised that it's going to be sometime in spring, so hopefully spring's right around the corner. The regulations will help us have a true understanding of what the law is expecting to achieve through this program. With a quick scan of the new law, a lot hasn't changed with the Adult and Dislocated Worker Program. There's a lot more buzzwords that are being put into the law, career pathways, things of that sort, which is really what we've been doing with WIA, but now they use the buzzwords. One of the changes, though, is that the sequence of services that I mentioned, core, intensive, and training service, that's been eliminated, but I don't look at that as being a significant change. The major changes, though, happen with the youth program. So the youth program now will change. It will increase the age limit for youth to be served to 24 from 21. It also changes our focus where under the WIA programs we've been required to spend the majority of our money on in-school youth, whereas with the new law we're required to spend the majority of our money on out-of-school youth. So a complete flip from one program to another. It also requires that we dedicate 20% of our funds to youth work experience activities. So when we get our allocation, we know right off the top 20% is going to be dedicated to work experience activities. And there are two new elements in the youth program, financial literacy and access to entrepreneurial type skill training. So we'll be adding those program elements to our program. And I provided contact information for myself as well as our business services coordinator, William Willis. William is the gentleman who we will have going out trying to develop our work sites. He's the gentleman that builds relationships with employers every day so that we have those relationships in place to help the folks we're working with. And then Ann Cabell has been our staff member that's been helping with the youth employment. Last year she was very instrumental to helping operate the summer employment, so I've added her name as a contact as well. And open for any questions.
Oh, nice job, Mike, as always. Run good programs over there. It's a shame we have to put the rapid response into effect.
Want to flip us over?
Oh, okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
If I could, Madam President, I'd like to ask Mike, can you kind of walk us through how some of these talks are going with U.S. Steel and just trying to, because I clearly want the employees over there, the 614 families that are going to have their lives turned upside down this year, to know that these resources are available and to get them over to use those resources. So I'm just curious how those conversations have gone and what our plan is, because this is where we can play a major role in hopefully helping to stabilize some lives through some difficult times.
Absolutely. You know, it took us a little bit of time to get access to find out the true details of what was going on, and it was through the union that we were able to make, Steelworkers 1104, that we were able to make very good progress. They provided the details that helped us understand how the various mills are going to be shut down over the next few months and the number of employees that were going to be impacted over those idling moments. When we found out the details, we were also able to use the union to get the employer at the table. So we did have a follow-up meeting with the employer and the union present, and our goal again is to make sure that we're able to get in front of those employees to share information about our services. We did this week, Monday and Tuesday, yesterday and Monday, we provided the first of 4 rapid response orientations. So I think in the first 3 sessions there were altogether about 75 employees, and these are the first employees that are being impacted. And last night we did a session from 5 till 7:30, and I don't have the numbers that attended that. But it's interesting, while we're hearing that this is temporary, you know, when you're dealing with employees that make a pretty decent wage while they're employed, a lot of them don't see the benefit of working with our system. They also understand the challenges and difficulties they're going to have in trying to find employment for a very short term if it's true that they're going to be called back. So we're trying to make sure that they understand that we might be able to help them through that. There's also, under new state law, the ability for an employer to apply for a waiver that causes their employees that are impacted not to have to seek work. And that is something that U.S. Steel is working with the state of Ohio to pursue. That has its advantages and its disadvantages. You know, the advantages are if they do get called back, they don't have to waste their time or another employer's time in trying to become employed for 3 months or 4 months. But the disadvantages is that these employees also qualify for other benefits outside of workforce dollars. They all qualify for what is known as Trade Adjustment Act funds, which are for manufacturers who send jobs overseas. And there was a petition that was filed a couple years ago that was approved by the Department of Labor, and that petition is still open, and all of the employees that are part of labor qualify then for those trade benefits. If you don't seek work because of the waiver, you would jeopardize your eligibility for these trade benefits. And the trade benefits provide access to extended unemployment. So if you exhaust your 26 weeks of state unemployment, you could qualify for some extended unemployment. And it also jeopardizes ability for training dollars. So advantages, disadvantages, we want to stress the importance of connect with us. We could even, and we've been trying to work with the employer, maybe we could put you in a short-term training that while you're idled, it'll make you more valuable when you go back to U.S. Steel. And recognizing we're not just trying to train to send them somewhere else, we want to try to use this time and these workforce dollars to help better prepare them when they go back. So we will continue to work as the next mills become idled at setting up more sessions, and then hopefully these employees are going to engage with us.
Good to know.
Also had a question about, I'm always fascinated by these retraining dollars that are actually available, these training grants. I think it's $7,500 a year up to 15 over 2 years. And you know, I just run into a lot of people out there who are underemployed. Recently, when I was at the doctor's office, a male nurse walked in, and I asked him how long he'd been in nursing. He said about 6 weeks, and he said he used to work in manufacturing and always loved biology and things like that. Went to nursing school. Now he's a nurse. And but what are we doing to get the word out about these training grants? Because I mean, these are grants, so where you can come and actually be trained for another profession if you're underemployed and make more money in the process.
Absolutely. You know, our outreach is primarily to the folks that are unemployed. We do receive lists on a weekly basis of individuals that are qualifying for unemployment in Lorain County, and that's about 150 people every week who qualify for unemployment. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to receive 26 weeks, and there might be some people that go back to work and become unemployed again, so that's not necessarily an unduplicated count. But we send those individuals out information to try to engage them with our system. And the folks that are employed, it's a little bit harder to reach out to them because they're employed, so you don't know who they are. Yet, we probably need to do a better job of advertising, maybe billboards, maybe something on the radio, that we don't do today. And our dollars, while you would think that that marketing campaign would be an excellent campaign, we do have limitations on what we're allowed to use, and we're not allowed to call it marketing. We know we have to call it outreach, so we have to be very particular about how we do it. But you're absolutely correct, and one of the initiatives, and it's actually through the United Way collaboration, one of the initiatives we're involved as a partner in is one that is called the WISE initiative, and Lorain County Community College, the Elyria Library System, Oberlin College, the Elyria, I think I said the Elyria Y already, who are the other partners. But there's a number of partners, and the focus of this particular collaborative is to work with single women who are not self-sufficient, who are already either employed or in education, to help them achieve better likelihood of becoming self-sufficient, and identifying who those individuals are and trying to work with them to keep advancing them in their education levels. And it's very early on in this collaborative, but we recognize that that's a specific group that we have to work with. We also are in very close partnership with the Lorain County Department of Job and Family Services. So there could be individuals that are underemployed that are still in receipt of public assistance benefits, and they might be coming to us so that we could help them better prepare. So there's all these different groups of job seekers, but as a whole, we probably do need to figure out a better way of getting that word out to the underemployed.
Yeah, I know when I was in Columbus, too many folks down there believe that there's a culture of subsidy, which I don't subscribe to at all. I believe that individuals have pride in themselves. I believe that they want to be able to work and be self-sufficient and support their families and create a better life for their families. So, but I know what you're doing is very critical, and I will tell you, I've had conversations with people in the county trying to get people over to your front door, and I run into them later, hey, did you get over there yet? No, not yet. So maybe we need to talk it through, if we need to be more aggressive in the outreach component to get people in the front door, because I just think there are far too many people don't realize how big of a resource we've got over there and how valuable it is and how it can literally turn their lives around.
Absolutely. One of the other complications of a one-stop system is that, as I mentioned early on in the presentation, there's a number of partners. And while we're trying to have a integrated flow of the way that people access services, not all partners necessarily adapt to that integrated flow. So you could have a partner that might be bringing somebody into our system that isn't getting the quality of service that we would want them to get, but unfortunately that partner who, yes, you could drive how they do business per se, but not necessarily, because they could pull out and say, well, we're not going to be here, we'll go somewhere else, and you're trying to make a more valuable system. So there could be individuals that come in and they don't get the level of service they're expecting. When we put together the flow of folks that do come in through our normal channel of coming through our orientation and getting integrated into all these services, we know they're going to get what our expectation is. Yet if a partner's bringing them in, they could think they've come to Ohio Means Jobs, and they could think that they didn't get a good service, where we want to know that, and we want to figure out then how do we work with our partners to keep trying to better our system. And I think over the last few years we have done a good job at trying to continually improve our system. And again, recognizing the employers are our other customer. You're trying to satisfy an employer, and you're trying to make sure you're getting them the right type of job seeker, and you don't want to burn bridges with the employers because you'll have nowhere to send the people we're working with. So it's complicated because you can't just bring someone in and send them out to a job. You got to make sure they're the right person. You almost have to operate as though this is a for-profit business, or else you're not going to have customers.
Right. Very good.
Mike, you want to talk a little bit about one of the most pressing issues, at least I believe it's the most pressing issues, going forward, even though WIOA is rolling out. And there's some initiatives there that generally are pretty good. There's some that are going to be hard with the youth dollars. We're going to have to transform the way we deliver services for the last decade or so. But I think we're up to that challenge. But I'm more concerned with the consolidation of workforce development boards into a few super boards, and the lack of local identity that's going to be lost with regard to the delivery of services. And I think I've been telling the board about this a little bit at a time, but would you speak to that just briefly? and some of the things that you and I have been having conversation about possibly that could be in Lorain County's best interest.
Sure. So under WIOA, then there is I mentioned buzzwords earlier as well, and there is a strong push towards a more regionalized approach to doing workforce activity and recognizing employers don't have boundaries. We realize, we work with employers in Cuyahoga, we work with employees in Erie, we work with employees in Medina, as well as those other areas do the same. So that push towards regionalism, which is strong language that's in the Act, is the chance then for the state to look at how they've done business through the workforce system over the past 14, 15 years. And now there is this push that it's looking as though they want to, through the governor's office, have a more larger workforce area. So where Lorain has been fortunate to be a standalone county, there has been, if you look at the workforce system today in Ohio, there's 20 workforce areas. There's 88 counties, so we know that there's many areas where counties have already partnered up over the course of WIA. And now with this focus on regionalism, it appears to be the time where the governor wants to look at how does he cause areas to come together. And it's going to require, and there's a lot of information that's coming out. I actually just got something yesterday, and I know that the County Commissioners Organization of Ohio is going to be trying to educate the commissioners, and it's a lot of push towards how do the elected officials start working together with elected officials in surrounding counties to have a different approach to how we deliver workforce services. Yesterday afternoon, late afternoon, some guidance came out from the state, Jim, I'll share that with you later today, but they're driving then now how the process to request designation will happen. Areas that have in the past been standalone areas, if they satisfy all of the outlined data that the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act has outlined, if they satisfy all that, they could still apply to be a standalone area. But it doesn't look like an area would be likely to be able to satisfy that. So it does appear as though this is the time where we have to figure out how do we look at our surrounding counties, what makes the most sense when you're looking at commuting patterns, when you're looking at metropolitan statistical areas, when you're looking at Jobs Ohio regions. I mean, there's a lot that comes into play, and those are the conversations that we need to have. And we need to figure out our approach then to submitting a request. The requests are not due to the state until the end of May, so we've got a little bit of time now to start organizing and preparing. But that's the challenge.
That's not much time, really.
Well, it's not a lot of time at all. In fact, it's a ridiculously short time frame to establish working relationships and come together with a strategic plan that may meet the needs of several areas. As I've shared with the board, I feel that magnetic pull to the east. And I'm grievously concerned that we're going to get gobbled up much against our will. Now, Lake County
What about
has
if we go west?
Well, Lake County has the same thing. They're an independent board in Lake County. We're an independent board. Cuyahoga's independent. Then you have Medina Summit. That's one board. One of the driving pieces of this collaboration is where your people work. And we have a lot of people that work in Cuyahoga County because we're next to a major metropolitan area, and we have the issues that come with that close relationship. I had been thinking for the last couple of weeks while we were waiting for this metrics to come down that Erie and Huron County looked a little bit more similar to us, with Norwalk and Sandusky mirroring what some of our cities look like and some of the issues there. But we just don't have the people going to work in those communities. But I've spoken to Mike, and we've been, a couple of weeks now talking about we're going to get over there, and we're going to have a conversation. Both of those counties are in Erie, in Zone 7?
In Area 7.
Area 7.
Which is 20 counties.
It's the mega.
20 counties
More
now?
than 20.
Yeah, it starts at the lake, and it goes all the way down there near
Montgomery.
Cincinnati, and
Dayton.
it's what they did is they just hodgepodged that together a couple of years ago. It doesn't really actually make much sense. So there may be some ability to look at something going west that I think that would reflect a little bit better about our needs. Cuyahoga has a completely different set of needs than we do. I don't know if you're allowed to jump over an area, like go to Lake County and have it, a non-contiguous border, we haven't talked about that.
I think you can present whatever you want. It's a matter of what's going to be considered when you submit your request.
And I had thought about Medina Summit, but Medina reflects us a little bit better. Summit is, I think, more akin to Cuyahoga. So we have some issues that we got to work on. And you're right, Commissioner. You looked up and you said that is not a lot of time for us to get through this. Now, we don't even really know when you collaborate what that means. Are we going to have a local workforce development agency anymore? Are we going to have a satellite office? Would we appoint members to a joint WIB board? Is it going to be a regional council of governments?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, too many
Those
questions.
things are still all out there without clear definition and a clear line of sight to ultimately where the local input's going to come from. And while we've off and on have struggled with some of our reporting numbers, for the most part our numbers look very, very good. We've worked very hard at this over the last 10, 15 years, and it's going to be hard if we get gobbled up into a major metropolitan area and we lose our identity. But you do understand that this is something that the Kasich administration has been driving towards since the first administration. They have vanilla painted with a vanilla ice cream type approach to everything. It's all one title, one thing, one everything. They've taken the local approach out of almost everything we've done, and it's not because it wasn't being done correctly where you were. It's because they just wanted to brand it with a state branding and take all the local identity out of it. Mm-hmm. And before that, we spent 10 years putting the local identity into it because they wanted the local identity so that you brought the local people around and you had them work with your workforce development. How do we have our businesses that sit on the WIB board, our paraprofessionals, our union representatives, our public sector representatives, how do we get all of those people voicing their understanding of what the needs of Lorain County is into a mega board in Cuyahoga that may only consist of 3 or 4 people from Lorain County? Mm-hmm. We've seen those kind of boards where we put some bobbleheads on them before, and they really don't do a lot to represent our community or bring information back and forth. And I don't mean to go on at length to that, but I am very concerned.
My thinking, I have the same issue with having to go to Cuyahoga County as the big elephant in the room, but Medina, like if you look in the want ads for help wanted ads, you see a lot of employers from Medina and Lodi looking for employees up here. So maybe that would be the better.
Well, that would be Medina Summit. I don't think that Medina is going to peel off from Summit at this late date. So that may be option 2. There should be an option 1, 2, 3, 4. The last option, though, and I don't mean to be disrespectful of Cuyahoga.
Oh, no, I know.
They provide jobs. We work with them on a lot of regional approaches. But our last option should be, moving into that corridor where I truly believe we're going to be relegated to the back of the room, and will not be able to really project what we think is in the best interest of this community and what our business leaders and our community leaders believe is in the best interest of the community, because they do that now vis-a-vis the WIB board. Mm-hmm. Mike, do you want to add to that, or is it just?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. One thing that I'm pretty certain of is that allocation-wise, how much money come into a community still may not be affected when you partner up with other areas. So while you might be part of a regional approach, Summit and Medina, for example, they use the same methodology to how much money Medina receives versus how much money Summit receives. It's not as though Summit could choose, here's how much we're going to take and here's what's left over. Mm-hmm. And that is methodology through a very complex formula of many different factors like unemployment and just
but it's still deciding how the dollars are going to be utilized at the point of service.
Sure, like caps on how much you approve for training and OJT caps and things of that
sort.
Now,
years ago we went to the virtual delivery of services where we did away with overheads, we did away with indirect costs. We actually have mostly consultants that we do contracts with, so that the dollars are, well, I would say 95% of the dollars that we allocate out are going into direct services. If you remember those wars we fought here 8, 9 years ago to stop paying for roof repairs and everything else that was coming out of workforce development and youth dollars, I'm worried about whether we're going to be able to keep those things in place. They've proven very successful in a cost-efficient model to deliver good services. Those things may be changed. We may be, told if we're part of a bigger group that this is the way we do it, and this is the way you're going to do it going forward. We may not have a large enough voice to influence those decisions. But we're going to do what we have to do, and we have to come back to you, and we need to discuss this with the board, because the board's the one that's ultimately going to make the application that needs to be sent out for who we're going to try to work with or blend with. I'm hoping that, again, going to the west, that they may say that, yeah, we don't want to be part of a region that stretches all the way from the Ohio River all the way to the lake, and it does make some sense to be with you. I'm also hoping that if we're not meeting every one of those criteria, that we'll be given some preference to what the local folks are asking for, rather than you haven't met 100% everything. I will say the way they're crafted right now, if we don't get a little bit of a thinking like that, I think they're crafted to move traffic.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we don't get into a situation where the workforce development services for our residents would require them having to go to Cuyahoga County to receive those services. That would not work well at all.
Well, I don't think currently Area 7, everyone has a office. There's not it's not all regional where it's at multiple levels. They have local offices in all of them.
Right, I think there would still potentially be a center in Lorain County. It's just a matter, it may be operated by a WIB that is not Lorain County's WIB.
And we don't even know whose employees it might be. We don't know a lot of stuff.
A lot of uncertainties.
My headache's coming back.
Yeah.
Well,
you're giving me one.
It's taken us a long time to get to where we are, and I understand that the state has some things and some desires, but the people that know what's going on here best are our residents here in the community, and our business leaders and our community leaders and our appointed and elected officials that are working with this all the time. How many times do you folks get the call? They think you run everything, and they don't want to hear that it doesn't fall to you. And so it'll be hard. What are you going to answer on the phone? Call Cuyahoga County and speak to somebody in Cuyahoga County. And it's not going to go over very well.
A lot of good information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Okay.
Under resolutions, number 1, investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Madam Clerk, the last appropriation is for the HVAC replacement at the Board of Elections. I'd like to put a hold on that one for now. Right now, we're doing it as a state bid, and I'm thinking we may want to bid that out here
State
locally,
term.
or state term. And I think we may want to just bid that out locally. So I will, when we get down to requisitions, there's also 2 that I want to pull from that as well. So if we can just hold those for now. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
Second.
Second. Sorry. Second.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
No advances, no repayments, requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, number 509 and 510 is the same, the HVAC replacement for the Board of Elections. I want to keep saying Board of Education for some reason, so, Board of Elections.
And you want to hold those?
I'm going to hold those 2.
Okay.
And also, I need an exception on item 500.
Okay.
Okay.
I need to abstain from that item due to a family member having a direct involvement in a contract.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Travel.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Mr. Cortez?
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. I do have a few personnel issues. I'll make it short. I know we have NOACA at our conference center today, so I have potential hires at Golden Acres, Children and Family First. I want to update you on a fact finding that has occurred out at the Sheriff's Department. that we'll be dealing with, not this week, but soon. So I just want to bring you into the loop a little bit on that. And also the potential sale and purchase of real estate. All of those topics are allowable under the Sunshine Act for executive session discussion. So that's at the conclusion of our regular board meeting. We go into executive session and discuss those issues that I've outlined. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the minutes of March 4th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Support the multimodal Ohio Department of Transportation.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This resolution is something that we want to send down to Columbus to encourage multimodal initiatives. When I was in Columbus, I know that we had tried to move forward with what we call an Ohio Transportation Choices Fund. Basically calls for moving some dollars around so that we can actually pull down more federal dollars, preferably around $60 million in federal dollars, matching $15 million that the state would put on the table, and would provide about $75 million for an Ohio Transportation Choices Fund. That would help local jurisdictions. They could apply to work on projects dealing with the road, rail, transit, bike, pedestrian, and other multimodal capital initiatives.
Good.
Question for you, man. In the process, since the transportation bill has been approved in the House, could that be added?
It could be.
Would it go
It's
concurrent of
exactly,
some
yeah.
sort?
It's over in the Senate, and
Right.
I believe they're going to vote on the 18th, is what I was told, is when the Senate will vote.
Actually, staff from NOACA was at the Senate yesterday testifying
good.
in regards to needs with the transportation bill.
Anything further? Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Under Community Development, award agreement with CT Consultants in the amount of $7,300 for design, bid documents, and contract oversight and inspections for a CDBG-funded street improvement project on Jones Street in Camden Court Village, and will be paid from the contract services account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Amend Resolution 14764 adopted December 10, 2014, awarding agreements with Partners Environmental Consulting, Inc. and Hall & Associates, Inc. to conduct activities for the U.S. EPA Brownfield Assessment Grants. Said amendment is to reflect the incorrect account number should be paid from account contractual purchase services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Under Job and Family, approve and enter the 4D Purchase of Service Contract with CEA, Prosecutor, Domestic Relations Court, Juvenile Division, effective retroactive January 1st through December 31st, 2015. Authorized Director to execute on behalf of the Board of Prosecutors approval as to form. Prosecutor's Office non-federal match is $293,153.84. Federal match is $569,063.34 for a total of $862,217.18. Domestic Relations Magistrate non-federal matching is $130,779.57. Federal matching is $253,866.21 for a total of $384,645.78. And then Domestic Relations Juvenile non-matching is $154,866.72. Federal is $300,623.62 for a total of $455,490.34.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Under Solid Waste, approve the issuance of waivers and designation pursuant to standard form of waiver agreement effective March 1st, 2014 through February 28, 2016 for Fabrizi Disposal, Inc., Rumpke Waste Management of Ohio, Inc., FSI Disposal, and Kimball Recycling and Disposal. This is due to the flow control of muni, solid waste, and level solid waste fee for all MSW haulers in the county.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Bailey?
Presently, you have flow control and have continued flow control into the Lorain County landfill for all waste that's generated in Lorain County except for industrial. This allows other competitors to come in and compete with Republic, which has been a very effective tool. So we grant these waivers from our current flow control, allow these to happen. And also we collect our $2 that way. So it levels the playing field for everybody and makes it a very even level playing field. So
Thank you, Keith.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Approve the contract with the ERG Environmental Services Bowling Green for the operation of lamp and ballast collection and recycling program for 2015. Two proposals were received on December 9th, this being the most responsive, complying with specifications, and it has a 2-year renewal option to be paid from the fluorescent recycling account.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Bailey?
We've been with them now, this will be going into our 4th year, and it's been a very effective program working with this company, all right? They're right out of Bowling Green, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have something, Mr. Cortez?
No, I want Keith to stay though, because I want to bring something from the floor while we're under solid waste.
Okay.
So after you do this, so do that.
Okay.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Yeah, Keith, I did get the marketing plan, thanks.
No problem.
But we need to do that WEOL piece, don't we?
Yeah. It went to your board, it was given a purchase order, so.
Right, but we took it out because I wanted to see the
Yeah.
marketing plan.
Right,
I think we need to get that done this week to be able to get our placeholder on that.
right.
I don't know if the rest of the board saw it, but it was a total package. We want to explain it a little bit?
Yeah, we have contracted with them for 3 forecast magazines, if you're familiar with the WEOL forecast magazine, which will put 75,000 copies on the street, 25,000 copies per quarter. We have the rear cover of it under contract. With that package, we were offered 360 commercials, which we use throughout the year for all of our programs. We negotiated that up to 480. They're probably going to give me 4 interviews, which I'd like to involve the commissioners directly in, and be that as well in this package. So this is a package, only $28 an ad compared to what the 30-some dollars we've been paying for others. So it's very effective, a very effective program.
When it came down, I had taken it out. It was a bit pricey in a global look, and I didn't have the supporting documentation to justify the expense, and I asked for the marketing plan. I like the ad. It does communicate a message that we need to get out. I would ask that the board support this and pass a resolution moving forward so we can get that placeholder for this week.
Yeah.
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Anything further? Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the engineer, advertised for the 2015 chip and seal program. Notice to be in the Chronicle on March 13th and 20th and opening at 2 p.m. on March 31st.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Approve and enter an LPA agreement with ODOT to repair and resurface Lake Avenue from Pomley Street to Griswold and from Elyria Avenue to North Ridge Road, Elyria Township. Authorize engineer to execute on behalf of the board. Prosecutor's approval is to form, and the project is being paid by federal funding assistance from NOACA.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Accept the petition of landowners agreement and determine to proceed with the construction of Redfern Road, Columbia Township, Force Main Sanitary Sewer Improvement Number 122 within Lorain County General Sewer District.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Cortez, these
Well-
sewers are being put in at no cost to the homeowners?
I will defer to counsel, who has been working on this.
Okay.
I can answer some of those questions, but I think he can probably do a better job at this
Okay.
point than I can.
You could do
Yes,
that.
just historically, we originally approved this project in September of 2013, so this is actually a replacement and an expansion of that process to take it down Redfern Road. This is being done under Section 611728, which means 100% of the landowners come in and petition and agree and provide for the entire payment of the sewers, which will be assessed back to those landowners. And then the way we have this set up, any tap-in fees to existing homes either will not be charged or will be waived in some manner.
Absent having a large pool of money to build sewers and then wait for development to come, which has proven foolhardy in a lot of places. I think we have one of those that was still waiting for development to come that was built before this administration. Anybody from this administration was here. And so we know how suspect that can be. Entering into these development agreements with folks that want to develop Lorain County and provide housing in Lorain County, we need to partner. Otherwise, we're going to continue not to see growth because of lack of public services and availability of public services. As I've been working with Columbia Township, it's not about not having growth, it's about good land management and good land planning that'll make a community vibrant and maintain the flavors that they still want, but yet allow for proper development. And so this is really a good agreement. It's good for Columbia Township. The trustees are in favor of it. We've worked with this developer before. It's been a very positive relationship, and this is simply a modification of the original agreement because we have that dry sewer down at Redfern Farms. You saw the information that went out to them that I communicated with them. I know, Commissioner Lundy, you received an email on this, but this petition has already been done, right? So at this time, I think we're comfortable asking the board to move forward on this. We're pushing some timeframes that need to be accomplished, and it's going to be an exciting project. And then in the future, it'll provide for additional resources should other areas continue to grow in that community.
There's a gentleman in the
Yeah, I
audience.
would note
Did you have a, can you, yeah. He's here for this topic, and I'm not sure what his concern is, but if, you need to state your name and your address for the record, and then you can.
Eric Calabrese, 1110 Euclid Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio. We own a large tract of land over there, which abuts or is in close proximity to what is being discussed right now. My biggest question is, the adjacent landowners are in close proximity. What are their tap-in fees going to be? Because myself personally, I'm the managing member. I've got no notification of any of this stuff, and it seems kind of like it's being forced through and kind of a backdoor deal almost.
Well,
so
it's not.
I do have some questions.
No, don't say that. No, this has been publicly done in hearings and petitioned properly. Please don't say that.
That's really
as a property owner, I have not received any paperwork. So if there was something that was sent to me,
are you on the sewer line, right? I mean, are you abutting the sewer?
we're on Redfern. Yes.
You're on Redfern?
Yes.
Gerald, you want to come up?
Well, let the gentleman finish.
I think he wasn't finished. I think he kind of insulted us enough. So do you want to come up?
Yeah, come on, Jerry. Come on.
I want to speak, so when it's appropriate, I'll speak.
But I didn't use my 3 minutes, but when you guys tell me that everybody has been notified, and I'm kind of thrown against the under the bus and just received notification of this being discussed today, I just find it rather hard to believe.
You just received notification today?
Actually, yesterday from some of my constituents in the neighborhood over there, and obviously none of them could be.
They were all notified and you weren't?
I have no idea if they were notified. They just said it's on the agenda. We need to get somebody over there. I tried to get a hold of my attorney. He was tied up.
You have constituents?
Believe it or not.
Are you an elected official or in some capacity?
Constituents, friends, we could obviously Google the definition.
Well, I just don't want you to misrepresent here on a public.
I'm here on behalf of myself, the property owner, and as managing member.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to go back and emphasize, this was originally done in September of 2013. So it's been out there. We've been in contact with people in the locality. People we have to notify by law are the people who are going to pay for the sewers. And they all signed the petition waiving notice. We do not notify everybody in the township. But again, this has been on the books already for a year and a half. We came in January and had an initial hearing on this, so this has been tabled since January. So, I mean, and like I said, the trustees know about it. Every time I've been out in Columbia Township, everybody there seems to know about it. So with all due respect, I don't really understand how you didn't know about it.
Well,
it has not been under the table.
Here's a
it
couple
has not
questions
been
I
a
have.
secret. It's been one of the most public things. I mean,
do we know
I
what
just think that's a very incorrect statement, sir.
Do we know what the impact fees are going to be on the adjacent properties or those individuals that end up joining that?
Going to come forward here. In a
No,
moment.
it sounds like you guys have already done a lot of studies. mean, I've got a couple simple questions, and maybe you guys have already done this, and by a simple yes or no, you can probably tell me. What studies have been performed to determine whether the proposed fee is reasonable in amount or duration? What studies have been performed to show that the amount of the fee is proportionate to the amount of use to the system per each fee payer? What studies have been performed to demonstrate whether there would be a chilling effect on development in the affected areas? Have there been any persons or parcels of land that have been exempted from paying this impact fee? Have there been any studies to determine how this fee will impact property values? Why has the proposed agreement not been made available for impacted properties to be able to review and comment? Why have affected property owners not been notified of this proposed agreement and this meeting today, which we already discussed that one.
That was simple. I certainly don't want to hear anything you have that's complicated.
There are no impact fees.
There are no impact fees, so I don't know what fee you're addressing. It's really hard to respond to something that is so generic in nature that it says everything and all after you get done saying it. Just not, what impact fee are you talking about?
Well, usually when you put a lift station in, those people that want to join at a later date, there's typically an impact fee associated with that.
The sewer is going in for the development up on Redfern Road. I don't have a crystal ball to know what you're going to do with your property later, nor does this board. So there is no fees being applied to your property whatsoever. Now, if you want to come on to a system that was bonded and built, and the proceeds of tap-in fees and also of the developer parceling out his property and putting the cost of the sewer onto those lots, yeah, there has to be discussion on that, but it's not being designed for your property right now. I don't think you came in and asked for it to be designed for your property, even before these folks did.
Well, there's just a rumor floating out there that the possible impact fee will be $7,000 per household. So that's obviously just a rumor.
You must be talking to Lorain, not us.
Are you talking about a tap-in fee?
Yes.
To tap into the sewer, if
Yes.
you so desire to do that?
Yes, impact fee, tap-in fee, I think
Okay.
it's referred to by a couple different things. Well, what's
Right
your
now, there's no fees associated with your property going to be assessed to you.
Okay. But in the future, that's undetermined.
Do you know what the future holds?
Well, I
Do
just
we-
want to,
do we don't
I just
know
want
what
somebody to
it's
go on
going to
record
be
saying
in the-
there's no fees
There-
because
there-
it
there is-
obviously impacts the potential development of the
It would
parcel that
depend
we
on
have.
when, how much, how large. Let me ask you those same questions you asked us. When are you going to develop? How large is this development? It's going to be commercial, retail, what's it going to be? Those are all important considerations for what it may cost. You're asking specific questions and you want specific answers, but you're not giving us any details.
Are you going to be a residential development? You're going to have 68 homes on this property? I mean, that will all determine what.
Residential development with, possibly 100 home sites. Just
Oh.
trying to plat that out right now.
Oh, okay, so you're not just talking about one household?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I said Riverside
Yeah, yeah.
Golf Course. I
So,
assumed it was a large parcel that was going to be developed, right? I
The
didn't
Marks
know
Road
that.
sewer by itself that's already in has a tap-in fee
And
of
that tap-in fee, I think, is $1,700.
$1,700. The Redfern fee, the Redfern Road sewer fee,
And that will be
that
based
all
upon construction costs.
right, that all current affected people that were required to tap into,
Right,
required,
EPA within 200 feet of
is
the sewer.
going to be at no cost. The sewer is free to those homeowners, the tap-in fees are free to those homeowners. If the Redford Farms subdivision, which has a dry sewer on it, at some point is attached to the Redfern Road sewer, which we have made provisions that in the future that could occur, but no determination's been made on that, but we have stubbed it out while the ditch is open, then they will be required to pay half of the Marks Road sewer tap-in fee, but no Redford Road tap-in fee per a negotiation with the current developer that is underpinning the cost of the sewer. Those are tap-in fees, they're not impact fees. But I understand that people on this terminology could be a little different. So those are the only names out there. So right now, your property is unaffected by anything. There's no cost to you whatsoever.
There are future developers that want to tie in. Those developers aren't paying for these sewers. The landowners are paying for those sewers. So those future developers are going to have to pay a tap-in fee as part of their participation into tying into these sewers.
So right now, if you took both those tap-in fees together, I think it's somewhere in the area of $3,800. Gerald, you can nod or not. I don't remember the exact number. Do you?
I'll be able to add more information.
Well, why don't you come up and add it then? We have another podium over here, and you could certainly.
You might be able to clarify some of my.
Well, I would prefer to wait for this gentleman to be finished, so I can address his questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner.
So.
Rather than going back and forth, I don't think.
I understand. So those are the issues as we understand them, and one of the key elements was not having anybody that was along where the sewer is going to be installed to have to pay anything, so that the sewer went down that way, and that was negotiated for all the present homeowners that exist
Right.
there.
Which is a practice we implemented 8 or 9 years ago when we started this process.
Well, we did it on the Marks Road.
Marks, right.
Well, we
Yeah,
started, what, no
that's-
6 on that?
Good for the present homeowners, but
Right.
probably bad for me as a landowner, potential developer.
Why, you'll have a sewer,
You'll
sir. Instead
yeah.
of putting in a $15,000 mound system per household, you'll be able to tap right into a sewer.
Well, as long as, we don't have exorbitant cost to do that, which sometimes happens.
The one, let me put this to rest here. Nobody's going to make money if you develop there. There's no profit on sewers for us. There's only recapturing of cost.
Right.
I think that needs to be stated here, not just for yourself, but for the general public that does occasionally look at our meetings. We don't make money on sewers. So the only thing that's going to be recaptured is the actual cost of the sewer. There's tap-in fees that are shared between the county and the developer until the cost of the sewer is recovered and the developer recovers their cost, and at that point, they expire. So depending on how long that process takes and how long it was till you developed, those tap-in fees may be mitigated down to zero. That's why I was saying it's hard to respond to an open-ended question. Those are the 2 tap-in fees that exist right now. I don't know that there will be more, but the pump station, the lift station is only built to a certain capacity. So if your development comes in and you put in 68 or 70 or 80 homes, it may be that we need to upgrade that pumping station for that area. That would be a cost that we would talk to you about, because you're asking us to increase capacity for a development. Mm-hmm. Those are only reasonable costs associated with that development. We would not make money on that, nor would anybody else.
I only see how this helps future development for you.
Right.
I don't see how it harms you in any way, but I just want the record to show that obviously this has been under discussion for a long time. This isn't just something that was railroaded through and came up at the last minute. But if I were a developer, I'd be pretty excited about having that kind of easy access.
No, I appreciate your time. I just wanted to make sure that, nothing was passed today that obviously, deterred the development of our property or, made it obviously more expensive to do that. So, thank you much for hearing my comments.
You had some things you wanted to add at this point?
Yes, I do.
Please identify yourself.
Yes, my name's Gerald Phillips. Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the Redfern Force Main Sewer Project, which is really the second project in part of the Columbia Township Northeast Sewer District. The first project was the Marks Road Trunk Sewer Project back in 2007, 2008. And that's when the Columbia Township Northeast Sewer District was established. We were, as mentioned by Gerald Innes, we filed a petition on September 27, 2013 for the Redfern Force Main sewer improvement. The commissioners, by resolution 13-883 on October 23, 2013, passed and approved the petition in the landowners agreement. So prior to that time, there was considerable discussion. It's been 18 months since the first petition was filed. I was here on January 21st, 2015, with the revised petition and landowners agreement. The reason why there was revision and an amendment suggested and a new petition was that the engineers had it to make some design changes to look at potential future development, make sure the future potential area was appropriate. So the costs increased double to the landowners. And I remember stating on January 21st that we tabled it because we wanted to measure twice and cut once. Obviously, 7 weeks ago, we were here measuring twice and cut once. We measured more than twice. I've been in constant dialogue with Gerald Innes, who's been in contact with Mr. Cordes and the engineers looking at this project. So innuendo or suggestion that this is under the table is really, I take it as an offense. And Mr. Calabrese's comments about that, I consider that an insult to me and to this board. We've been trying a while to work this out. It took 7 weeks. It's been trying at times, and I'm sure Jerry Ennis will indicate that. Took a while. It's been frustrating at times on behalf of my clients, but we had to address concerns. We had to address concerns of the county, and we had to address the concerns of the developers. This is the first extension of the Marks Road trunk sewer, so we had to make sure that we foresaw what the potential was. So that took extra time, and that necessitated the engineers. And the engineers, looked at it and made changes, and we were making changes through January, and we've been making some minor changes to address the concerns since then. We had to address the concerns of the county about the residents affected. When we did the Marks Road trunk sewer, it was just down Marks Road. And we paid the cost of that sewer at no cost to those owners. They were able to tie in with no tap-in fees at the cost of the developers. And they basically had sewers at no cost to them. So in this potential expansion with the Redfern Force Main, we had additional considerations because it was going further and affected more property owners. And we had to identify those property owners. And there's 29 residents that are going to be affected directly who have existing sanitary sewers, who, through discussions with the county, listening to their concerns, of the impact on those residents. Obviously, the developers have a different concern. They like to do it, at no cost, but we understand their concerns. And I'm sure everybody on the board, Mr. Ennis and Mr. Cordes, knows my reputation concerning fighting for the residents and protecting them, and being on the opposite end, fighting for the residents to make sure they don't pay. So I understood those concerns, and I appreciated those concerns, and I can understand them. I had to convince my clients, and in a sense of cooperation and trying to reach the mutual goals of the county and for the township and for the developers in a cooperative attitude, we worked out those concerns. And we had to deal with the design for the future expansion, which complicated it. We had additional landowners, because this is an expensive project. And the property owners are going to be assessed 100% of that. And they're taking a huge risk. As Mr. Cordes says, you put the sewer in and you wait for people to come. And if not, you could bear that cost. And the time value of money of putting up that upfront cost and waiting for those people to tie on, that's the risk that the developers are taking. And the county has appreciated that risk in the sense of working in this cooperation. Then we had the additional factor of the county wanting to further that development in the area and help the residents in that community with the dry sewer for Redfern. So those are all additional concerns that have been addressed. Any insinuation that we didn't try to address the concerns of the residents to protect them is just false. This has been an elaborate process with the public and private sectors working in a cooperative effort to do what's best for Lorain County. It's similar to the Flats East Bank project that I was in. You need public and private cooperation in order to do it. The county can't go out there and put sewers and wait for people to do it. They need somebody to come to work with to do a vision that's both, and that's what this process has been about.
Jerry, can I interrupt you? We've got a motion on the floor yet. It's been, did Lori move on this, or did we just bring it up for
Yes.
discussion?
No.
It's moved.
It moved and
And I've got to leave,
Okay.
so it takes two commissioners to vote.
All right, we
I've
look
got a
forward to-
large meeting this morning, so.
Okay. As far as Mr. Calabrese is concerned, he's not in this sewer district at all. You can look at the map, he's not on it. If he wants to put up $2.5 million for the Marks Road, and he wants to put $4.5 million and have his property assessed $7 million and bear those risks, we welcome him, okay? We wish he would have done it, then we would sit there and tap in. So if he wants to take that risk and wait for it, that's fine. But we're just glad we can work with you again, and we look forward to a third opportunity. Thank you.
Lou, well, a motion on the floor in a second, so I'll
Okay.
just go this way. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Okay. Under the treasurer, authorized payment of $200 due to a shortage in the treasurer's office due to counterfeit currency received during real estate tax collection to be paid for miscellaneous other expenses.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Cortez,
No comment.
Mr. Innes,
I have no report.
Commissioners report.
Mr. Kayla?
No report this morning. I've got to get going.
Okay. And just for a quick report, we had our Transportation Summit last Thursday. Thought that went very well. The plan is for the next gathering to take place in May at the Transportation Center.
I just want to let you guys know that we did receive the first petition from Columbia Township from the Stormwater District to clean the 1,609 linear feet of staying road or staying ditch and replace any failed tile from the ditch to the turnpike right away on West Ridge Road. And I sent it to the engineer for review. So when it comes back, I'll start scheduling that. Board correspondence?
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
Mr. Lundy,
Right.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
aye.
And then public comment? No? Executive session?
Jim, are we going to move into an executive session? We've got one commissioner.
No, you know what, I'm going to rescind my request for executive session. The issues that I've outlined, we can discuss next week. There's nothing that urgent.
Yeah.
So
Ju-
adjourned.
And just so the residents home understand, Commissioner Kalo's president of NOACA this year. We are hosting mayors to meet with NOACA.
Municipalities, yeah, they're key
Municipalities
staff.
at our transportation center, and that's why we're really pressed on time here today.
And Wednesday is the only day NOACA staff can actually leave the office to this
Right.
degree.
I
Yeah.
would like to know how well they like our facility though when it gets done.
Well, they've been there before.
Oh, they have?
Oh, we've had meetings there
That's
before.
okay.
So we appreciate you bringing this meeting in for our municipal
Thank
leaders.
you.
Thank you. And move to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Lundy,
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.